Every year, 50 guys hit the road, trying to make it to the very end. They know one thing: if they stop, they die. USA, 20th century. After a devastating civil war, the country fell under the control of a totalitarian regime led by a military ruler known only as the Major. The nation has sunk into a constant state of economic crisis, forcing most of the population to struggle for survival. The only path to wealth is to take part in an annual competition known as the Long Walk. 50 boys participate, one from each state. The grand prize, $1 million and a chance to have any wish granted. The route begins on May 1st at 8 a.m., near the Canadian border in Maine. Among the contestants is a local boy named Raymond Garrity. In the morning before the start, his mother drives him to the border, leaving him with a backpack full of food and a baseball. She's deeply worried and wishes she could talk him out of it, but she knows this is something he has to do, not just to compete, but to win. With tears in her eyes, Mrs. Garrity hugs her son, praying he'll survive, even though she knows the odds are almost impossible. During a military inspection, Ray meets another contestant, Peter McVries. Determined and confident, Peter believes his 1 kilogram weight advantage could make all the difference. Once the boys reach the starting line, they conserve their energy according to the unspoken code of the competition. They sit on the asphalt, study one another, and quietly size up who might be the weakest. The most dangerous competitor appears to be Stebbins, physically strong and clearly better prepared than most. The weakest and most pitiful seems to be Curly. The other suspect he falsified his registration, lying about his age, since only boys 18 and older are allowed to participate. Soon after, the Major arrives to announce the rules and officially begin the long walk. Ray grows tense in his presence, even turning away his face, something Peter immediately notices. Each contestant receives a personal number. Collie Parker, 48, Richard Harkness, 49, Arthur Baker, 6, Curly, 7, Olson, 47, Gary Barkovich, 5, Stebbins, 88, Peter, 23, and Ray, 47. The Major reminds them that the long walk is a necessary measure. Humanity's greatest plague, he says, is laziness. As the first competition 19 years ago proved, the long walk helps boost the U.S. economy and improves the nation's work ethic. Each of them, he declares, is a brave soul ready to challenge the system and change their destiny, and perhaps the world around them. After thanking them for their courage, the Major recites the rules. Each walker will wear a wrist device tracking their speed and violations. They must maintain a pace of at least 3 miles per hour, fall below that speed, and they receive a warning. 3 warnings mean execution, but a warning can be cleared by walking an hour without further violations. The goal is simple: stay alive longer than anyone else. There can be only one winner. A few minutes later, the competition officially begins. The group of walkers is escorted by a military patrol that monitors their speed, tracks violations, and prevents any attempt to break the rules or escape. Armored vehicles follow alongside, equipped with surveillance cameras broadcasting the event live across the nation. Spectators are only allowed at the final stage, when just 2 contestants remain, but locals are free to watch and cheer for their heroes as they march toward the ultimate prize. After only 5 miles, contestant number 38 stops and receives his first warning. He pretends it was an accident, but everyone knows it's a strategy. He's deliberately testing the system, seeing how the warnings work, how long he can rest, and how the reset rule operates. Realizing that walking in silence is unbearable, the boys begin to talk. Friendships start to form. Contestants number 47, number 23, number 46, and number 6 grow closer, united by a shared goal, to support one another along the way and ensure that the most deserving among them wins. Soon after, contestant number 5 halts, claiming he's got a stone in his shoe. He takes off one boot and fumbles with the laces, wasting precious time. Within moments, he receives his first, second, and then third warning. A soldier raises his rifle, finger on the trigger, but just in time, number 5 manages to tie his boot and resume walking, escaping execution by seconds. Later, he insists he did it on purpose, just to catch his breath. The others think he's insane. 30 seconds of rest nearly cost him his life. Worse yet, he'll now have to walk 3 full hours without another mistake to clear his record, or he'll get a bullet in the head. 7 miles in, contestants number 6, number 23, number 46, and number 47 start discussing the prize money and what it means to them. Art is deeply religious, but he grew up poor and believes money comes before everything else. The prize, he says, would let him start over and finally provide for his family. Ray is the only one who disagrees. To him, money doesn't matter as much as the system itself, or rather, finding a way to break it. He's haunted by the tyranny gripping his country and the need to end it. People, he says, have become prisoners of the system. The illusion of choice in America keeps them compliant, too afraid of persecution and punishment to ever fight back. Trying to befriend the group of 4, participant number 49 speaks his mind. He doesn't care about the money either, but he's obsessed with winning. He's an aspiring writer. He's writing a book from the perspective of a long walk contestant and hopes to finish first, not just to become rich, but to become a successful author. Their conversation is interrupted when participant number 7 has a seizure. Curly is the weakest from the start, and it's obvious, but now Ray is doing everything he can to help him. He pushes him to keep going and offers support in that tough moment, but it doesn't change the outcome. A brief relief ends in pain, and Curly can't continue. He immediately receives 3 warnings and is then shot in the head, shocking everyone else. They literally freeze in place, yet they must keep moving to avoid becoming the next victims. After the first death, the chief addresses the others, declaring that this is only the beginning of their journey. Ray quickly looks away, unwilling to meet the country's leader's gaze, and touches a soldier's rifle for luck, a gesture that sparks genuine curiosity in Peter. He realizes Ray is hiding something, but his friend doesn't fully trust him yet and refuses to reveal why he hates the chief. Trying to lift the new friend's spirits, Peter suggests not dwelling on what's happening and instead living in the moment, waiting for the next bright event in their lives. As they continue toward their goal, Ray, Peter, Art, and Olsen form a tight-knit group of friends, comparing themselves to the Musketeers. The guys know the path won't be easy, but they're ready to support each other in tough times to reach the final and maybe even earn a pardon through sheer perseverance. Minutes later, another participant collapses on the asphalt from a seizure and is immediately shot in the head. Some are disturbed by the death, but not participant number 5, who believes each corpse increases his own chances of winning. A few hours later, Olsen feels pain in his leg, which is becoming dangerous. Checking their pace, Ray notices they're moving slightly faster than necessary and tells them to slow down. This allows Olsen to rest and regain strength, avoiding a warning and a bullet to the head. Ray asks Peter to talk about the scars on his face, but Peter shuts it down. He doesn't want to discuss his past and would rather stay silent than answer uncomfortable questions. Under stress, Olsen loses some of his food and gets extremely anxious, but Ray gives him his own supplies. Meanwhile, participant number 5 identifies the next weakest link. Spotting a calm, good-natured guy ahead, he starts provoking him into a confrontation. Unable to tolerate the insults aimed at him and his mother, the participant attacks number 5 with his fists, but he immediately receives 3 warnings. At one point, he tries to hit Barkovich again, misses, and falls to the ground, where he is executed. Number 5 sees this as a small victory on his path to the goal, but the others strongly disagree. They begin to despise him, sincerely wishing he'd be the next victim, driving Barkovich into depression. A little later, participant number 45 starts having stomach problems, constantly needing the bathroom. Unable to hold it, he tries to relieve himself right on the road, but he has to do it as fast as possible. Every stop earns a warning, and after the 4th attempt, number 45 is shot in the head. 35 miles in, night falls, the toughest and most critical part of the competition. The body begins to fail, and many participants lose speed. At one point, number 47 falls asleep while walking and dreams of his mother singing him a lullaby. Peter brings him back to reality, not wanting Ray to be executed. Moments later, Ray stumbles, receiving 2 more warnings. Number 23 supports him, reminding him that now he must go 3 hours without making a single mistake, or he will be shot. Facing such a dire situation for the first time, number 47 becomes angry and doubts the existence of true friendship. He literally pushes Peter away and moves forward, believing everyone around him is an enemy and wants him dead. The situation worsens as a steep uphill stretch begins, draining strength and slowing the participants. At some point, the soldiers start executing anyone who receives 3 warnings, and the number of casualties rises. They collapse and are shot in the head, but this only motivates Ray and a few others who refuse to look back. Number 47 is shaken, as a soldier walks just a meter away, aiming at his head, ready to pull the trigger at any moment. Barkovich tries to provoke Ray into making a mistake, but Ray endures the test and climbs the hill. Peter helps him along the way, which makes number 47 feel remorse and apologize. Number 23 is a true friend. By the morning of the 2nd day, Ray admits that he isn't interested in money. That's not why he's here. He has a personal goal, a mission he's willing to risk his life for. Peter wants to know more, but Ray asks him to wait a little longer before revealing his plan. Meanwhile, they learn that out of the 50 participants who started, only 18 are still alive. The night and the uphill climb were brutal, but these challenges significantly increase their chances of winning. A few hours later, Olsen breaks away from the group and starts walking alone. His condition worsens with every minute, and he can't even speak without using up precious energy. At the same time, participant number 49 injures his leg. Forbidden to stop, he breaks his leg and keeps walking, but the injury takes its toll. Soon, he slows down, loses hope of finishing his book, and is shot in the temple. After reaching the 100-mile mark, the remaining walkers are met once again by the major, who congratulates them on their first real achievement. When they pass through a small town, one of the participants sees a chance to escape, but his attempt ends in a hail of bullets. A little later, 4 friends start talking, not about the cash prize, but about the wish they'll make if they win. Art says he wants a foot massage at the finish line, which sounds funny and almost innocent. Olsen, on the other hand, dreams of spending an evening with 10 girls, a pretty dumb wish, since with that much money, he could buy all the company he wants. Peter says he wants to donate his winnings to charity and do something good for people, which sounds like a surprisingly generous gesture. As for Ray, he keeps his wish secret, only hinting that it might change the system itself, break the rules and traditions that keep them all trapped. The others find his words inspiring. After all, they're sick of the totalitarian regime and this brutal contest, and they'd love to see Ray make his dream come true. That night, as rain pours down, Peter and Ray hold onto each other so they can take turns sleeping while walking without falling over. In the morning of the third day, contestant No. 6 desperately needs to use the bathroom but ends up on the verge of collapse and receives several warnings. Barely pulling himself together, he manages to get back in rhythm and avoids execution. Left alone with Ray, Peter finally learns what Ray really wants. Ray's father had been a strong, smart, independent man, qualities the regime despised. One night, soldiers arrived at their home, led by the major himself, demanding that his father surrender and submit. When he refused, they executed him right in front of his wife and son. After witnessing such cruelty, Ray entered the walk for one reason: revenge. His true wish is to get a rifle and execute the major himself. Peter argues that revenge won't fix anything, that Ray's father chose his fate and, in a way, had been selfish, valuing his principles more than his family. After 170 miles, some of the walkers start to lose their minds. One throws himself under a tank's treads and loses his legs before being finished off. Another strips naked and runs into a field, only to be shot in the back. That night, Olsen gives up and stops walking. After several warnings, he curses at the soldiers. They don't shoot him cleanly, they shoot him in the gut, leaving him to bleed out in agony. Art refuses to abandon his friend and turns back, earning his own warnings. Realizing Olsen is about to die, Ray also goes back to say goodbye and to pull Art away. He convinces him not to give up, to keep walking and never look back. Olsen dies in pain, and by the morning of the fourth day, only 6 walkers remain. Contestant No. 48 mentions Olsen's wife and suggests a pact. Whoever wins should find her and share the prize money. Everyone agrees, except Barkovich, whose opinion no one even asks for. Offended and desperate for redemption, contestant No. 5 apologizes for his earlier actions and for causing the death of a fellow walker at the start of the race. Begging for forgiveness and friendship, he's finally forgiven, and in that moment, realizes he's already gotten what he truly wanted. He sprints a few steps ahead, stabs himself in the neck with a sharp object, and ends his life, understanding that forgiveness itself was his victory. On the morning of the 5th day, Ray's shoe tears, forcing him to walk in just his socks. Soon, they enter the city where he grew up and spot No. 47's mother. Risking his life, Ray runs to her, receiving warnings from the soldiers just to embrace her. In that moment, he realizes he made a mistake leaving her behind for the sake of possible revenge. Guilt floods him, and he wants to ask for her forgiveness, but Peter insists he keep moving. Number 23 refuses to see his friend executed in front of his own mother, demanding that Ray not give up. Trying to explain the value of life, Peter finally opens up about his own scars. Orphaned at a young age, he grew up under a sadistic uncle who regularly beat him. After his uncle's death, he was left on the streets, fighting every day just to survive, until he came face to face with a killer. His scars are minor compared to what he could have lost, yet that encounter made him rethink life and start appreciating the little things. If he wins, Peter wants to help orphans and those in need, but he's ready to lose to someone like Ray, knowing Ray is a good man who will do the right thing. After reaching 306 miles, the 5 survivors agree to stop helping each other. The cost of winning is too high. At the same time, number 48 decides to act on the one thing he's wanted since the very start. He attacks a soldier, killing him in an act of defiance against the totalitarian regime. Wounded, number 48 refuses to be executed and takes his own life. That evening, Art begins bleeding heavily and realizes he can no longer continue. Ray and Peter almost carry him on their shoulders, but number 6 knows it's wrong. Giving up, Art shares a story about his grandmother and asks that his token be given to her as a symbol of his fight, in which he had been a worthy competitor. As he says goodbye, number 6 asks his friends for one thing: don't look back, so they won't see his death. Soon after, he stops walking and becomes the next to be executed. That night, the remaining 3 search for a way to outsmart the system. Peter suggests stopping, but Stebbins declares it impossible. Deciding to be as honest as the others, number 88 confesses that he is the illegitimate son of the major. He had spent his life training and proving himself, hoping his father would officially recognize him, but the cold and exhaustion of the long walk have drained him completely. His internal organs are failing, and he can no longer continue. Yet Stebbins feels honored to lose to number 23 and number 47, knowing they are good people. After saying farewell to Ray and Peter, Stebbins becomes the 48th victim of the competition. After 331 miles, Ray and Peter enter a city where a crowd and the major await. Believing his friend deserves to win, Peter sits down, letting Ray go ahead, but Ray refuses and lifts Peter, begging him to walk just a little further together. Peter smiles and agrees, walking on while talking with his friend, unaware that Ray has stopped, sacrificing himself. Moments later, a soldier shoots Ray, wounding him, and the major executes the penultimate participant before congratulating Peter on his victory. Given the chance to make a wish, Peter hesitates, weighing his options. Seeing his best friend's lifeless body, he makes his choice. He asks for a rifle to be given to one of the soldiers and uses it to execute the major. With the regime finally toppled and his friend's final wish fulfilled, Peter continues forward. Is it possible to hold on to your humanity when life becomes a fight for survival? Share your thoughts in the comments down below, smash that like button, and subscribe for more. See you in the next video.